Second.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Cowan, maintenance report.
Thank you, Chairman. The maintenance report is a purchase order for Dunlop Services, $13,200. And as it says on the agenda, they're doing right-of-way work acquisition for the Orange Road Phase 2 project. They received an invoice from recent work they completed. Or have for maintenance. I have some questions about that.
You have any questions?
I have no questions.
I make the motion to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to Dunlop and Associates, the amount of $13,200 for right-of-way acquisition East Orange Road Phase 2.
Second.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Cowan, I'm sorry. This is the payment to get them started. They have not started yet, correct?
We have one other invoice actually. Not the second week.
Okay. Do you know if there's been any issues with the acquisitions?
There haven't been.
Okay.
We're still waiting for the post office. That could be somewhat an issue.
Okay.
They said they've been through working with the DSA before. Just kind of waiting game to get that approved.
Okay.
Haven't had any problems today approved.
Post office moves at the speed of government.
So more brains.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, in the packet, there's information on the purchase order for $2,400. And I also passed out to Cameron River just prior to the meeting. I've got a chance to go through it.
Sorry.
Price quote for hurricane.
So this was been brought to my attention. Walker Wood Park. We have a shelter, we have practice. Well, we have green space that's used for soccer practices. However, there's no bathroom there. So there's our very little league do not use the green space there because there's no bathroom. And obviously the shelter, I don't think it's as much use, being if someone has to use the bathroom, you have to leave. So we looked at what it would cost to place a seasonal porta-john at Walker Wood for practices and for get-togethers in the shelter.
That's from April 15th to September 30th?
Correct.
Yeah, for the summer season. And in the packet, there is a pricing sheet, first page, with a picture of the units that will be ordered on the second page. And there's the edited legal terms, 3 pages. They were reviewed by Tony Powell. Also have the list of officers certification, 1 page in that packet. Resolution, also inserted.
So there will be 3. Will there be 3? 3 units?
2 single and 1 88 second. And I also, just for your information, included my email conversation with Tony Powell. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
How often will they be cleaned?
It comes once a week. And you're certainly can buy more cleanings.
How much more is it to have it cleaned? Is that in here?
This down below, additional service, needed on service page, $35 per week. That's item 2 on the first page.
Okay. So what's the total cost then?
$105 or so
I'm fine with that.
And I guess, do you want to increase cleaning, or do we want to start?
Oh, just start. We can just start like this, just in case we get complaints. And so, is 3 the proper number of units that we would need?
We think so. Yeah, it's 3 units, and again, one of them is 88 accessory.
It says it doubles as a family
Yeah.
at this nice.
Wheelchair accessible.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask a question?
Sure.
Was the HOA contacted for their approval on this? Or they're okay?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is.
That is a good point. Where would they be placed? Because they are kind of unattractive, even though they're necessary.
It'd be nice to have their partnership.
Yeah, that would be, maybe
You want to chip in, who knows?
Would we want to approve it, then obviously get the consent of the HOA before we move forward? That way it's ready to go.
How
If the
much
HOA
is
has
it?
Problems, we will.
I do remember one of their concerns was people going to the bathroom in the tree line. So
Some of the residents who live back there had expressed, some unpleasant experiences with that.
How much is the purchase order?
I believe it was gonna be out of blanket.
is it not in the agenda here?
I don't see it. There's,
We probably can, just pay for the regular park maintenance. I think we have several plans,
was this, okay, so what do we have to do? What are you asking?
There's a resolution here to pass to move forward, and then obviously we'll pass it with the contingency that we'll reach out to the HOA to make sure that there's no. From folks I know in the neighborhood, I think they'll be very, very happy to now have a bathroom at that location.
What page is that resolution on?
I'm sorry, it's
Third from the back,
third
I
from the
guess.
back.
So there's no, so we're just entering into the resolution. There's no cost on here. We're just,
This is entering the agreement, and then it would be paid out of blanket.
and do you know where they would be placed, the units?
Well, as I mentioned, they have to be close to the parking area just for starters.
Because maybe we don't need 3, because that maybe, well, just talk to the homeowners association, but 3 might be too many, like visually. I don't know.
But I think you need one that's handicap accessible, right?
Yeah.
Really, just one of each probably wouldn't be enough
Yeah.
because they're practices there, they're not games. Or...
Right.
Yeah, or you could even just have one, the wheelchair one. Does that function as a regular restroom as well? Yeah. Does it? How many people are typically there that need, do we have any idea? It's a pretty small park.
I know they're having regular soccer practices there now.
So maybe just 2. I just think that was a good point, that the homeowners association might not. And once you can put them back a little bit, yeah.
So are we okay with approving the agreement contingent upon reaching out to the HOA and making sure there's no concerns? And then we can look at, as far as if we only need one, we'll just have one. But this is just to prove that we can enter the agreement.
Well, the only thing I'm concerned about with that is what if they say no, they don't want it, and yet it is a necessity. That's kind of a tough call. You can hopefully kind of hide it. Well, not hide
That's
it,
what
hide
I'm
it,
trying to figure out if they could put it back.
Like some hedgerows or trees around, pine trees or something, out there or something.
That's pretty open.
And it is temporary, so.
Yeah.
It is temporary. It'll be gone in September, so I guess.
It would be nice too if we got this before the meeting so we could review it.
Yeah, no, and like I said, that was my fault. It wasn't on the agenda. As I told Mr. Calvin, I put it on, and this came through from Mr. Fowler's today. So
I don't have a copy of the resolution. Is there a dollar amount included?
no, this is just to enter the agreement for the contract.
I think
I'd like to pass it along.
I think there should be a dollar amount, like up to so much per month, or.
I think they were going to take out the blanket.
Well, yeah, the blanket. Yeah, that's where it's going to come from. But I mean, what are you approving?
Well, because of the dollar amount's small enough.
Is it below 10,000 or what?
Yeah.
What is the limit? How much can we spend without having to approve a purchase order?
Well, if you look at it's $2,500, and if you look at the contract over the summer, it would be more than that. I just thought it'd be a good idea to put a dollar amount in the resolution.
So an individual department head cannot approve more than $2,500 without a purchase order in advance from the trustees?
Correct.
Well, this is the,
One unit, and 188 units for about $250 a month.
yes, we're below that.
Well, then it's below that.
Yeah.
And then you can go out
Yes, sir.
5 or 6 months
Wait, how much is it again?
Depending on best case, worst case, price wise, we're still, I think, under no matter what scenario.
And we'll find the right place to take it from.
Are we good with the
Yep.
agreement?
I'm good.
I make the motion to approve an agreement with Porta-Clean for portable restrooms at Walker Wood Park. Whereas the Orange Township Board of Trustees is authorized to establish and maintain township parks pursuant to revised code section 505.261, and whereas the board has determined that it is desirable and necessary to have restroom facilities at Walker Wood Park for the use of park patrons, and whereas Porta-Clean provides portable restrooms, and whereas the board desires to enter into the attached agreement with Porta-Clean, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Orange Township that Section 1, the board hereby approves the attached agreement with Porta-Clean for portable restrooms at Walker Wood Park according to terms and conditions therein. Section 2, the board delegates its authority to sign the agreement on the board's behalf of Township Administrator Lee Bodnar. Section 3, all formal actions of this board concerning and related to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of the board, and all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including RC 121.22. Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon adoption.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Well, I have, thank you very much.
With a pool,
How about the pool umbrella?
umbrella.
All right, fine. And actually, I don't have a whole lot of information about the umbrella.
Is, okay, the resolution's in here, so, yeah, and this was an order for orange umbrellas from this company, and I'm waiting for the fabric sample to come. It was supposed to come today by FedEx, and it did not, but it should match our logo, the orange of our logo, which is more of a, it's not a bright orange I found, it's more of a tangerine orange, so these are decent quality, and they have the crank and the tilt as well.
We take care of all the paperwork on our end. We've got all our forms, we've got all that forms ready to go. So I think that is the place that will.
So we can go ahead and pass this today, correct? That is the correct dollar amount.
Is that correct? We know for sure that's
Oh
correct.
yeah.
Do you remember, did they come with a UV coating?
Oh, actually, that was your question. They come with a Sunbrella that fabric has a it's several years long. I think it's
Nice.
4 years. So, but the umbrella will probably won't last that long given the umbrellas. But yeah, it has I took your advice and got some good fabric.
What kind of base do they have?
What do you mean?
As far as when they come down, they sit, and otherwise they blow away.
Oh yeah, they
There's a
close.
weight. There's a weight.
Yeah, Bill ordered the bases, like the plastic bases in brown to match the champagne color of the. Yeah, and they'll be in there for the tables, and they can close.
So they're 50-pound weight actually. They are recommended for 7.5 to 9.5 foot umbrellas, 50-pound weight.
Oh, and that's another thing. We were originally going to order the 7.5 foot umbrellas, but I found that these are 9 feet because they're actually measured not by diameter. They're actually measured from the ribs. So a 7.5 foot umbrella might be, when it's open, might be more like 6 feet. So I learned a lot about umbrellas. So this should make our residents very happy.
I make the motion to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to Patio Umbrella Store in the amount of $7,542.90 for pool umbrellas.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Public safety report, I believe Ms. Chipperman's going to handle.
We have in front of you a couple resolutions to appoint firefighter Craig Coleman to full-time fire inspector, which would be effective April 24th, he would follow, accepting his resignation as a firefighter paramedic, and then after that, appointing Forrest Hill as a full-time firefighter paramedic, and then accepting his resignation as a part-time firefighter EMT. And then I know these were discussed at prior meetings that these would be resolutions would be forthcoming. If you have any questions, let me know. I can do the next day.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions.
I have no further questions.
I move the adoption of the following resolution. Be it resolved that Craig Coleman is appointed to the non-exempt full-time bargaining unit position of fire inspector effective April 24th, 2019. Be it further resolved that the compensation for this position shall be provided for a non-probationary fire inspector in the current collective bargaining agreement between the Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3816, with paychecks to be issued based on a 14-day pay period. Be it further resolved that the compensation for this position shall also include the standard employee benefits package provided for all full-time union personnel and resolutions of the Board of Township Trustees and/or the current collective bargaining agreement between Orange Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3816. Be it further resolved that, in view of the appointee's long time and current employment with Orange Township, 1. This appointment is final upon the effective date of this resolution and shall not be contingent upon satisfactory completion of a drug screen, physical examination, background investigation, or PRADCO assessment. And 2. The probationary periods shall apply to this appointment. Be it further resolved that, unless otherwise provided by the Board, all future appointments to this position shall be subject to the probationary period provided in the collective bargaining agreement between the Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, and contingent upon the applicant's satisfactory completion of a drug screen, physical examination, background investigation, and PRADCO assessment.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
I make the motion to accept the resignation of firefighter paramedic Craig Coleman effective April 23rd, 2019.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
I make the adoption of the following resolution. Be it resolved that Forrest Dill is appointed to the non-exempt full-time bargaining unit position of firefighter paramedic effective April 24th, 2019. Be it further resolved that this appointment is probationary in accordance with section 4.1 of the current collective bargaining agreement between the Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3816. Be it further resolved that during the probationary period, the compensation for this position shall be as provided for a probationary firefighter paramedic in the current collective bargaining agreement between the Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3816, with paychecks to be issued based on a 14-day pay period. Be it further resolved that if the probationary period is successfully completed, the compensation for this position shall be provided for a firefighter paramedic in the current collective bargaining agreement between the Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3816, with paychecks to be issued based on a 14-day pay period. Be it further resolved that the compensation for this position shall also include the standard employee benefits package provided for all full-time union personnel and resolutions of the Board of Township Trustees and our current collective bargaining agreement between Orange Township and the Orange Township Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 3816. Be it further resolved that this appointment is contingent upon the satisfactory completion by Forrest Dill of a drug screen, physical examination, background investigation, and PRADCO assessment.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
I make the motion to accept the resignation of part-time firefighter paramedic Forrest Dill effective April 23rd, 2019.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
And I would like to congratulate Mr. Coleman and Mr. Dill for their new positions.
The next thing on the agenda is purchase orders and new fire prevention vehicle. Now that we have 3 employees in fire prevention, we need to purchase another vehicle.
Any questions?
Was
Just
this on
point
the
out-
state bid?
Point out he actually got it lower than the state bidding.
He did, okay.
It was in the email that he had sent us.
I make a motion to authorize the issuance of a purchase order to Johnstown Coughlin Ford in the amount of $37,000 for purchase of a new fire prevention vehicle.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda, regarding EMS reporting software, the current EMS software is no longer being supported for maintenance, so we have to go out and look at getting another EMS reporting software. Mr. Fowler has reviewed the agreement, he's approved it, he said his signatures are required when he provides our submission.
Any questions?
I'm looking for a cost. That, is that what the Snap-on is, or is that something different?
Snap-on is different.
Those are
Yeah.
tools.
Is this just an agreement to enter into the, do we already have money?
Yeah, he's already, Chief Noble budgeted for this already, he said he's put it in his weekly report, that was something that would have already been talked about, that is taking that.
But we're,
He might have provided some backup or some additional information in the email that he sent. I know he was asking about costs, but something not on there.
There's some cost in the schedule, exhibit A1. Page 6. Also back further, there's the cost sheet.
did,
Looks like it's $12,490. Is that what you're looking at?
yeah, I didn't see that in the weekly, and I'm not seeing it
in the what?
in his weekly report.
Well, I would say we just pass that and then we can pass the resolution later. But usually Chief is very thorough.
Right.
I can't see him leaving that out.
The actual, it looks like the actual licensing was provided in the backup, and then there was some exhibits as well. And then the last one has on page.
The 12,490.
Yes,
Yeah.
12,490. Yes.
It doesn't start till October 26th. Is that correct? So that's what it says. It says October 26th. So maybe he's asking for us to sign the agreement now and do a purchase order later.
Excuse me, it says October 26, 18.
Oh yeah, it does.
Ending 19.
Maybe that's a mistake. Is that what is the agreement? What date does the agreement state? Tax agreement. So the effective date is not signed. The effective date is not in the contract. Does he need this to be passed tonight, did he say?
He didn't say, I don't know if that's something that if you table it, then we could take that next meeting. If not, maybe we could put off and reach out to him, or we go to the next item on the agenda, and if we come back, we could talk
Yeah, let's
about
do
it
that.
a little bit. You're open for that?
Yeah, because I think the contract. And you said that the Mark Fowler has reviewed the contract?
And provide the resolution.
So, let me ask him.
That is an annual fee also, Amanda, is that correct?
Yeah, when it says customer login.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
then, I can reach out to Chief Noble, and then we can.
Yeah, ask him what the dates should say, and then what if we need to pass a purchase order for the amount of like 12,900 and whatever that was.
Okay, okay. The last item on the agenda under public service would be discussion of possible action for purchasing a motor vehicle diagnostic software and equipment for mechanics. And this would be troubleshooting vehicles now that we have our new automotive mechanic. This would be a piece of equipment that you can plug into an apparatus. It would pull all the diagnostics off of it, and then you can plug it into the computer to figure out what's wrong or do any tracking that we would need to. And that this is a new piece of equipment for this position.
Any questions?
I didn't have questions.
I make a motion to authorize the issuance of purchase to Snap-on in the amount of $20,677.99 using blanket certificate 201-2019 for diagnostic software and equipment for mechanics.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Fiscal officer report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, the first resolution is to amend the blanket certificate resolution. When Patty went to put the blankets into the system, because purchases had already been made on these 4 accounts, she had to reduce the blankets to this amount. So that's the purpose of this resolution.
Anything to add?
I have no questions.
I make the motion to amend resolution 19-137 to reflect corrected blanket certificate amounts for the following codes. Roads 2021-330-420, 0000, operating supplies, road salt 50,000, roads 2231-330-323, 0000, repairs and maintenance $4,000, fire 2191-220-221, 0000, medical hospital, so $820,000, parks 2901-610-370, 0000, payment to another political sub for $300.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
The next one is to authorize the issuance of a then and now purchase order to Michael J. McCarthy for in the amount of $13,991.10 for legal services in 2018.
Make the motion to authorize the issuance of a purchase order for $13,991.10 for legal services in 2018.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Okay. Next one is to pay the state, and there's an invoice in there. It's from the auditor. One of it is, a part of it is the UAN fee, and the other part is the first hours that are coming in from our auditors that have been here. A total of $46,20.50.
I make the motion to authorize the issuance of a purchase order for $4,620.50 for Treasurer of State for second quarter 2019-2018.
Wait, I have a quick question was, so it says for Treasurer of State for second quarter 2019.
That's for the UAN.
So should that say UAN fees?
Well, it's
The way it's worded, it says second quarter 2019 and 2018 audit.
Well, it's second quarter UAN fees, and it's a 2018, part of the 2018 audit. It's spelled out in the invoice, but if you want to change the wording, that would be fine.
Yeah, I think it should be clear. So in the official record. So for treasurer of state for second quarter 2019 UAN fee
Yep.
and 2018
Audit fees.
and you said are they partial audit fees?
Yeah, it's just the
Partial,
very
right?
first few hours.
Okay, so partial audit fees.
I make the motion to authorize the issuance of purchase order for $4,620.50 for Treasurer of State for second quarter 2019 UAN fee and 2018 audit fees.
Partial audit fees.
Partial audit fees.
Second.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Mr. Trento?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Okay. And the next one is I sent information out to all of the trustees on this. And it's about, we have 3 accounts with Fifth Third Investments. And all the investments of the township are supposed to be pooled. And 2 of these accounts were set up not to be pooled. So the way to correct it is to close those 2 accounts and merge them into the account that we had there in the first place.
And so why is that required?
It's the law, section 135 of the ORC prohibits interest from being paid to any fund other than the general fund. And the exception, there's an Ohio constitutional amendment that the exception is for the 3 motor vehicle related funds, the motor vehicle tax, permissive tax, and gasoline, who knows why. And when we enter the interest into the UAN system and you check a box to distribute it proportionally, it only goes to the general and those 3 funds. So the belief that, because the funds are totally separate from investments, they're not connected usually in any way. So the belief that a fund at any specific part of the investments is not true. And so this is just to comply with the law.
Are these actually, were those set up, they were set up in, I think,
2015.
Some of them were set up before that, I think, right?
The general fund one they called the general fund was set up much earlier, maybe even earlier than that, 2012.
So did those funds come from the Fire and Parks Fund?
Yes. It was their own individual investments.
No, because...
Well, Parks had their investment and Fire had their investment.
Well, no, they can't have investments. That's the point of the whole thing. No money was moved in the accounting system. No money was moved from the fire fund anywhere. No money was moved from the parks fund anywhere. It doesn't have to be. They just said they wanted $1 million of their money invested in this way. The problem is we can't do that. You can't segregate.
Right, I understand what you're saying. I was just answering her question.
Right. But are you saying that, so the money that are in those 2 accounts currently are not actually Fire and Park funds?
They never were.
They never were. Because we were told originally they were being taken, correct? They were taken out. I read back through the minutes to confirm that. We were told specifically that they were being taken out of Fire and Park, and Chief Noble had expressed some reservations about having the money tied up, and it was actually transferred from the general fund to those investment accounts.
The investments are all pooled. What they did is they took pooled money that should have been invested for the benefit of the entire township, and they directed that, and it didn't come out of the funds because the funds still have the same balance. No money changed in the funds. But they said, let's set up a separate investment for parks so they can get their interest and set up for fire so they can get their interest. That's not legal. So I'm just trying to correct something that happened, and I've done a ton of homework on it. And this is, and so what's going to happen is those two accounts hold securities, muni bonds, and I think treasuries, and the actual securities will be transferred into the other account. We have $6 million in the one called general. We have about $1 million in each of these. Makes it also very hard to keep track of things. It makes it hard to make investment decisions because and that's why they have pool. There are a couple exceptions. One exception is like a cemetery bequest fund. That interest has to go there. Another exception is that if we set up another, for example, fire station building fund, at the board's discretion on that kind of fund, they could authorize paying the interest to, back into that fund. It's not really, it's just crediting it.
But this interest was never paid to those funds, was it?
Actually, some of it was.
It was, and
Yeah.
it should not have been.
Well, because
Not directly.
Patty was directed to distribute it proportionately, and
To the Parks and Fire Fund.
right, and it wasn't supposed to be.
Now, one of the concerns was back in the day is that people were concerned, they wanted to make sure that the proceeds went to the fire fund and to the parks fund. Is it still possible to divide the interest out and transfer it from the general fund later to parks and fire proportionally later?
Let me just tell you, well, Mr. McCarthy might have an opinion, but the Section 135, the way I understand it, says that you can't pay the interest to those funds. It goes to the general fund.
It would have to go through the general fund, and then, like I said, could we redistribute them back to fire?
I say yes. We are
Right.
just giving
You see what I'm
them,
saying?
we don't have to call it interest, we don't have to call
You
it,
can call it the year-end bonus if
Exactly.
you want, but you can't distribute the interest to.
Directly. Well, it can't be directly. So that was one. We had quite a bit of conversation because people wanted to make sure that the funds that were in parks and especially fire, that the proceeds and the interest were going directly to those. So can you keep track of that then, and we can do a resolution to transfer that money from the general fund into the fire and parks?
I will look into whether that can be done.
Well, anything can be transferred to the general fund and then back out.
I understand. I'll look into whether that can be done, so how it can be done. The law says you can't transfer the interest.
Right.
Keeping track of it and eventually moving it over is transferring the interest. So I will look into how it can be done.
But we can transfer.
That's true.
100% sure we can transfer. If we're legally allowed to transfer into general, we can transfer it back out. It just can't come
we gave
back.
them $1 million for the
Yeah.
fire levy, so
It just can't come back. Once it's been in fire or parks, it cannot come back without special provision.
I understand.
Can you check in? I understand what you're saying, but that was a big deal when we did it. And I want to make sure that those departments get credit for that once this is all done, if possible.
Okay. I will look into it.
You would just divide it out probably among.
But I will look into whether that can be done, and if so, how. I'm not saying.
It should be pretty easy.
I'm just saying that.
Well, we've done it before. We've transferred money out of general fund to parks and fire.
I understand, but when you said we keep track of how much the interest would have been and so on, I just have to check to see how that can be done.
Well, what we can, as trustees, we can make it arbitrary. We can say, well, we're going to transfer all to fire, we're going to all parks. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I guess any one of us could just divide it out ourselves and make a proposal.
I'm not disagreeing, Ms. Knapp. I'm just saying that before I commit to
I'm just saying that's what I think Trustee Trano and I, and possibly Trustee Rivers, because we were here when that was set up. It was a big deal. Okay, thanks.
I'll make a commitment to look into that, give you all the information I find.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Do you have any? No.
Are we holding off on this thing?
No, we can go ahead. No, we're okay to pass it tonight, I think, and then you're gonna look into it, yeah.
I make the motion to approve the closure of investment accounts and transfer of the investments to previously established investment account. Whereas the Orange Township Board of Trustees previously established 2 investment accounts with Fifth Third Securities Incorporated through resolutions 15-098 and 15-099, and whereas those accounts were intended to benefit the fire account 069173314 and parks account 069173313 funds, and whereas the township also maintains an investment account with Fifth Third Securities Incorporated that benefits the township general fund account 069171366, and whereas the recommendation of the fiscal officer, the board desires to close the first 2 investment accounts and to transfer the investments into the third investment account. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, that Section 1, the Board hereby approves the closure of Fifth Third Security accounts 0691733314 and 0691733313, and approves the transfer of the investments in those accounts to 0691713666. Section 2, all formal actions of this board are concerning and related to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of the board, and all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including RC 121.22. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon adoption.
Second.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Tranto? I'm sorry, Ms. Stamp?
Yes.
Ms. Tranto?
Yes.
Okay. I meant to do this first, but I wasn't looking at the agenda. I was looking at this, so it pops up here. In the past, when employees, former officials, and so on have passed away and desire to be buried in Township Cemetery, there has been a precedent to waive the interment fees, which includes the cost of the lot plus the opening and closing. And we prepared a resolution to that effect for the board to consider. For firefighter paramedic Trevor Murphy.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
I make a motion to waive the lot and interment fees for Orange Township firefighter paramedic Trevor Murphy.
Second.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Ms. Tranto?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
And Amanda, were you able to get a hold of Chief?
Yes, so I was able to speak to Chief Noble, and he said that, the cost of the new software is $12,490. That's upfront, and does include that one-time fee. After that, there's an annual recurring fee of $7,505, licensing, technical support, maintenance, help. But he said that even though this quote is dated November 25th, 2018, they did honor the pricing and continue it through today. So the pricing is valid. This is the report.
Starting now, then.
When is the contract? The contract, it stated in here, it was supposed to begin October of 2018.
Yeah, they didn't happen, and it's happening now. They're using their current EMS software, but as soon as this gets approved, they're going to switch over to it.
So what would the effective date be then? The contract, it was blank.
I think you guys can pick today or a future date, and that's the date they'll use to terminate the service with the current vendor, and they can start service with the ESL healthcare connector.
Did he state what date he wanted? And do we have to do a purchase order then? For both of those amounts?
If this is under a blanket,
Oh, it says under contract services.
and I think it's under a blanket, so a purchase order wouldn't be necessary. But the amount, it requires approval.
So what did he say he wanted us to do?
It's for the $12,490.
So he wants to pass a purchase order to this company for that amount, but not the $7,550?
It was already approved to spend out of the blanket, so.
Yeah, what Chief wants to use the blanket. All you have to do is approve the amount of the purchase, and it won't be a purchase order.
We just okay.
Remember how we changed we have a $10,000 max, and this is over that, so he's just honoring that.
So we have to do a purchase order for the amount of $12,490.
Well, it's not a purchase order. It's
Or just a purchase.
To approve the purchase, right?
And then we're approving the contract also?
Correct.
With an effective date of, I guess, tomorrow?
You can put tomorrow in, if that's not acceptable, we can always come back and do, we can adjust it again.
Where are you seeing it?
Give a date that
Nobody
he has stipulated it.
What are you looking for? It's not in there.
The date's supposed to be ready.
Well, I think it refers to this contract. So you
Okay.
could just say with an add down there with an effective date of, because the contract is blank. We didn't. I hope
Well, it
that's.
says it shall be effective immediately upon adoption, so that,
Well, the resolution is, but
right.
not
So, but do
the.
we need to,
Yeah, the resolution is effective immediately, but the date is per the contract, and the contract is blank.
so, so,
Under the terms of the contract.
right, so how do you want to word
At
that?
the, you could put, I think on the other page,
When the other expires.
somewhere
Whereas the board desires to enter into an attached agreement upon,
with an effective date of,
with an effective date of April 16th.
yeah, that's fine.
And I can let him know, Trustee, if that's, something that he can always come back and we can make adjustments to Trustee leave, but he didn't indicate that any date to me or an effective date. He just said that what was provided is still current, so hopefully we can use some on date and he can move forward with that.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a request in here either, so we wanted to make sure we got that in.
Mr. Chair, could I make a suggestion? Perhaps make it effective upon the termination of the existing contract, which is what I think he said he wanted.
Right, yeah.
So whatever that date is, that's what he said he wanted.
Mike, can we put that in there upon the date? Because there's an actual blank in here that provides for a specific, it looks like a specific date.
I understand what Mr. Mayor is suggesting. I guess the question gets to be who gets to decide the termination date of the prior contract.
Exactly.
Why can't we just put in today's date?
Well, that's what we were gonna put in tomorrow's date. We can just try that, and then if it doesn't work, that's why I wanted.
Amanda, do they have the software yet?
I don't know.
I mean, it'd be unusual for them to have it before the contract's
Right,
ended.
yeah, they have purchases, so I would assume they don't have it yet, but we can get this and then they can move forward with the final one. But they're gonna use the current software until this is implemented.
Right. Thank you.
All right, so we just want to use April 16th.
That's fine.
I make the motion to approve an agreement with ESO Solutions Incorporated for our fire department management software, whereas the Orange Township Board of Trustees has authority pursuant to RC 505.37A to establish a fire department and emergency medical services to protect against the occurrence of fires and to protect the property and lives of the citizens of the township against damage and accidents. And whereas Orange Township currently provides fire department and emergency medical services to the residents of the township through Orange Township Fire Department, and whereas OTFD has a need for technology that can assist with its duty to protect the citizens of the township in the most efficient manner possible, and whereas ESO Solutions Incorporated provides software, technology, and services that assist fire departments with such duties such as record management, patient tracking, reports, training, cardiac monitoring, and billing, and whereas the board desires to enter into an attached agreement with an effective date of April 16th with ESO Solutions to provide those services for Orange Township. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, that Section 1, the board hereby approves the attached master subscription and license agreement along with the exhibits and attachments with ESO Solutions Incorporated for use by the fire department for software and technology pursuant to the terms and conditions found in the agreement. Section 2, all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of the resolution were adopted in an open meeting of the board, and all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including RC 121.22. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon adoption.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Mr. Anto?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes, and I texted Chief and he said it will be effective when he orders it.
Thank you.
And so we have to authorize the purchase to that company. Is that correct?
It's under a blanket.
No, you'd approve the contract, so that's approving the purchase.
So we don't need, even though it's over 10,000, we'll purchase
You've approved
the
it,
contract.
because the contract price was $12,490, so you've approved that, so you don't need a purchase order.
And that's the reason that we have to.
Mr. Mayor, is that
That's it.
Administrator report, Mr. Bodnar.
Yes, members of the board, I only have one item for your decision this evening, which is an amendment to a past resolution to make a correction for the account code.
Any questions?
I have none.
Make the motion to amend resolution 19-041 to have the following code corrections. Code 2901-760-360-0000 to be corrected to code 2901-610-360-0000.
Second.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto? Ms. Knapp?
That
Thank
takes
you,
us
members of the board.
to old business.
During the last meeting, I had discussed an inventory policy for our full-time non-gardening employees. And I worked with Mr. McCarthy and put together a resolution so it addresses full-time non-gardening, non-exempt employees to get a mandatory 2-hour call-in. And that would be consistent with our maintenance policy. And we wanted to get this into place. We'll eventually go to the township handbook or the process of updating that this year. So it will go in as section 2. Any questions anybody has?
I have no further questions.
I make the motion to establish callback pay policy as full-time non-bargaining unit employees. Be it resolved that the Board of Township Trustees of Orange Township, Delaware County, Ohio, hereby establishes the following policy, which shall be immediately effective and which shall be added to the Board's Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, 2014 edition, as section 2.7 titled Employee Callback, 2.7 Employee Callback. Full-time non-bargaining unit non-exempt employees who are called back into work after the end of their regular shift or called in on a day or at a time the employee would have normally been off duty shall be entitled to a minimum of 2 hours pay. 2 or more call-ins within a 2-hour period shall be considered one call-in. Be it further resolved that the Township Fiscal Officer and Township Administrator are respectively authorized to take all action necessary to implement this policy.
Second?
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Is that Ms. Taranto?
Me.
Oh, okay. Ms. Knapp?
Yes?
Ms. Taranto?
And I did want to,
Go ahead. We do have an addition under new business to share an update on the 2013 Township Electronic Recycling Event.
This past Saturday, April 13th, we held our 3rd annual electronics recycling event, and we had approximately 75 vehicles that came through. We had 4 box trucks that were loaded with electronics. There were 20 volunteers, 3 drivers from Accurate IT Services that were here that collected the items, and 7 Township staff. We will know probably in a month what with all of the weight are and how much pounds we receive for different types of electronics. It takes a lot of work through all the different containers, and it'll cost how many TVs, monitors, things like that to collect it. So we're scheduling a follow-up meeting later this week to talk about the pros and cons, what we want to handle differently. I got in touch with each of the volunteers. There were scouts that were there, Radiant IT, or Radiant Technology. It's an IT company that's helped all 3 years. The Delaware General Health District, Jennifer Leon, she's our community partner, she was there as well. So we were really pleased with the turnout. It was great weather. So we'll know more once I hear from Jack Matt that after IT what all the weights are. But we were excited to be there.
You know, I heard that Myers did a shredding event at the same day and time, and that they closed like 2 hours early because it filled up so fast.
Really?
So I would even suggest we add another one of those on. I mean, they're very well received and obviously very much needed.
Yes. We did pass out some additional flyers for TKMM, Delaware, Knox, Marion Morrow, Solid Waste District has some special collection events throughout the year. One of tires, electronics, hazardous household waste, meat, essential shredding events. So there are some events that are coming up, and I know Mr. Bodnar and I talked about should we have one this year, getting one scheduled, what that looks like. last time we had one, it was in conjunction with doing the large shredding event with township documents that had been outside of the public retention schedule, so that's something we can look at next year.
Thanks for doing that.
Do you have anything else to add? And I did want to add, I know Chief Noble had planned to reach out to both of you prior to tonight in regards to the drone presentation, but obviously with the terrible news Friday, some things have obviously changed. So.
Yeah, as a liaison to fire, I had a completely different conversation with him, so I am kind of taken aback, so I need to get with him and see what's changed.
Okay. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Did you say? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, I need to show you.
I saw Chief nerves seemed like
He would.
I saw Chief nerves like look
I understand he's taking it very close.
really hard. Oh, my buddy.
No, it was bad.
My buddy Jack.